rain for a while. My subtle scheme is exceedingly firm. Allah's plan is exceedingly firm. And we wanted to mention those things today, and we want to mention in congruence with some of our other favorite ayats that we have. Whether we shall show thee within thy lifetime part of what we have promised thee, or take to ourselves thy soul before it is accomplished. Thy duty is to make the message reach them. It is our part to call them to account. So for us, and this to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether we show you in your lifetime everything that we didn't outline, which basically Allah did, and He just got that blessing. You don't have to worry about any of this. All you have to do is be a messenger. Take the risala, take the message to the people. Okay. Now we take that as part of our admonition also. We've had so many people, things. When we were in Oakland, we had a house full of people hanging out the windows. When we were in Oakland, things got so well established that certain people was running up and down the coast, making talks at universities and da-da-da-da-da-da. And As-Sabiqun become well known, and you know, I mean, it's a West Coast phenomenon. And all of a sudden, the same people that was involved came here some years ago, after 12 years. And they asked me, Imam Musa, what do you want us to do with our bayah? I almost, of course I didn't really laugh in their face. But you come here in 12 years, I haven't seen you actually in 12 years. Now for a lot of people, 12 years is a long time. For me, 12, when you get older, 12 years is not that long. So the idea was, what are you thinking about in 12 years? All the stuff you've seen about, and the person that came, he was getting old, he started out as a student, he was getting older, getting a little bald-headed. And I remember when we had an incident in Oakland, they was having a program up in San Jose, and they was coming from over there. They visited the Masjid in Oakland, and they came to where I was having a conflict with the police. And I was talking seriously, treacherous to the police. The police couldn't do nothing about it. The police was on the cell phone. And I was walking around the yard, one of our things, popping open trunks. If you was anybody else, they'd blow you away. You just can't do that. But see, first of all, I don't do it either until I make sure they got the message that got through who they dealing with. I mean, if the police pull up, I'm not going to jump up. I'm going to wait and I'm going to look at them and I say, okay, you got the message. Now I'm going to start. Of course, now I wouldn't do, that stuff is old hand and it's not even necessary, nor is it even good to do it. We didn't already made that point. Point is this. It's not our job to make all of those people like the people here. I mean, if we talk about we opened up in 91, imagine the type of people we had come through here. We didn't have the little black people crew. They go this, that, and the other. Then they leave, but when they leave, they take people with them. We didn't have another crew that was here, and they hung out. We had another crew, the same crew. We would look out for their children in a way and give them, support. And when they left here, their children went to the penitentiary. Take Adam, take all of those guys. They needed special treatment. They got it here. They got that you can be who you are here.
Mm-hmm.
And that let off steam, so they did all right. And their parents might have been crazy. That was the reason they was crazy. But they wasn't pressed. A couple of years later, they all in the penitentiary. And so was others' children, The point is, maybe they got cars for free or almost for free, owed us thousands of dollars out of each crew, Haven't made no difference with us, right? It have no, because from the very beginning, we had to study what is our responsibility in this. And it was clear what it says right here. What happened here is a repeat of what happened in California in the early 1970s. If they can isolate you and cut you off in a city where you're popular and famous at, then they can definitely do it here if you're not even from here. They can do it easy, which they did. The most ridiculous thing is for this masjid to be empty after it was the fullest masjid, right? It would be the emptiest masjid. It's ridiculous. And then why don't we feel bad about it? Why aren't we running around trying to, oh, what did we do? Can we help? Why we don't do that? Because, number one, it's not necessary. Number two, we haven't did anything anyway. And number three, that's not our job. Our job is to get this message out the best way we can. If we're isolated and cut off and persona non grata from everybody, well, we'll get out every now and then. We'll get out when we can. We'll make the message known. And that's what we do. Our flyers and stuff, we use these old ones for scratch paper, but like we did years ago, but we put the message out with what we have. We don't have to remanufacture everything. We don't have to go grab everybody and instead of marching over to the masjid, single file or in fours. I believe we have the same instruction, basically, that was given to the Prophet, peace be upon him, because the same instruction is constant throughout the Quran and Hadith. Whether we shall show thee within thy lifetime part of what we promised them, or take to ourselves thy soul before it is accomplished. Our duty is to make the message reach them. It is our part to call them to account. Okay. We are in a blessed period. Why? If we would have left 30 years ago or 40 years ago, it would have been the same because we was already singing. At least we were singing. what was the right. But now, after 40 years, only the dummies don't see. If they don't see it because they're professional, they have professional, well-fitted blinders that are specially designed to be able to see light but not to be able to distinguish anything else. That you can see enough not to bump into things as you're walking by, but you can't see nothing else. Well, anyway, that's a word. But that's not our responsibility. It's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that we are not charged with that. And if all the people leave, we're not happy to see you go, but we're not going to chase you down. See they not that we gradually reduce the land and their control from its outlying borders, where Allah's command there is none to put back his command, and he is swift in calling to account. So, this gradual reduction, don't they see what's happening to boss man, the United States? In the accelerated process, like Donald Trump was a big shock to the system, but it really accelerated the decline of the United States. It accelerated the decline in the status, right? And the awe that people had for the U.S. It became like almost a joke. It became the laughing stock. Then, in comes a poor guy now. The only thing that's bad about this is this guy will not retire and just say that's, I'm not, everybody's laughing at me. He won't say that. Maybe he don't know, because the scriptures here talk about they're not gonna perceive. So when the modern president goes to Asia and tell all those people, we want you to get behind us in this great struggle, da 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 da, and we're gonna give you 10 countries, $15 billion to get in with us. And China is already pledged to 1.5 billion, whatever, something like that. If they want everybody to sanction Russia, and the Russian ruble was down here a few months back, now it's up there. Whatever happened, everybody's going along with it. And there's nothing they can do about it, except they should enjoy this period, because in 4 more months, the weather's going to change. In 5 months, it's going to have, in 6 months, they're going to be in big trouble, Europe. They're going to need both kinds of liquid gas, and they're going to need that air gas. They're going to need them both. And the amount of money that they're spending on isolating Russia is actually increasing. I mean, Russia, they make more money. Not that they just saved up billions of rubles and gold.
Right.
But before, because they are very strategic. After they got whooped up in Afghanistan, they say, hey, man. So they thought about it. The people in the United States, there's something wrong with them. And everybody knew it. They're not strategic, they're not long range, and they don't, everything is in a quarter. And everybody knows that there's nothing you can do. You can't spend, in the Congress, if you spend money on a 20-year revival of highways project, well, you're going to get a vote in Congress in 2-3 months. So you got to give the people something right now to get their vote. And that means you have a preventative program of your own that prevents you from rescuing yourself. It prevents you from, and that's the way history is. When Allah hook you up, you have self-preventative, your self-preventative nature that you've accumulated. Your attitude, your behavior. You've accumulated a behavior that prevents you from rescuing yourself. That's what the U.S. has done. And all of its allies. And the people that was big all the time are getting bigger. So India's getting bigger, China then got bigger. Hawaii was big all the time. What, like the man said, this last 200 years was an aberration. It's a fluke. And not only as they come up, they bring in all the Asians with them. So no matter what little fitna they cause between a few little people, they will eventually realize Asia for Asians.
Right.
It's just, they just have to kind of corral Japan and India. Because remember, Russia is in Asia. So they already got, if we talked about this 30 years ago, it would be a wish and a hope. It's not now, it's concrete. When we talked about strategic alliances, when we talked in April 16th of 2011 at the rally, we outlined the steps that it was going to go through. And it went through those steps. Just because the other people don't recognize it don't mean it hasn't happened. That's the difference between, we don't need no recognition for nothing. We're not doing it for that. But one thing about it, that has happened. And now, that's evolved into a higher and more concrete. Everything that they do is bringing them down. They've been squeezed in, they've been cut off. Everything. So if they have an attitude that we're not going to stop the Yemeni war because it's okay, it's our friend killing people we don't like, let them do it. But pretty soon everybody's going to be looking at that, and that's going to turn into a trap, a self-created trap that they lined up themselves, and they did themselves. And they have to give up and quit because they just get deeper and deeper. The attitude of Muslims internationally toward Palestine It's heartbreaking. They can do, and they steal some more land every 2 weeks, all that's against the law. Everything they do is against the law to occupy people to do. Okay, that had to happen so that the world, everything has to become so clear that you can't get around it. Okay, let me pick it up. See they not that we gradually reduce the land in their control from its outlying borders, where Allah's command has none to put back his command, and he is swift in calling account. Those before them did also devise plots, but in all things the master planning is Allah. He knoweth the doings of every soul, and soon will the unbelievers know who gets home in the end. Nero fiddled while Rome burned. The British had a great revival plan between World War I, but the global thing didn't work out. It crashed. The United States have a plan, and they're implementing it. It has let's call it the hilarious plan. It's unbelievable. It is the hilarious plan that they want to tell all of their allies, don't buy stuff that you need, and these are the only guys that's got it. It's ridiculous. And the people are figuring out ways to get it to some of their friends. And they say, if y'all want it, you'll have to pay for it. Do then those who devise evil plots feel secure that Allah will not cause the earth to swallow them up, or that the wrath will not seize them from directions they little perceive, or that he may not call them to account in the midst of their goings to and fro, without any chance of their frustrating